Hey, you guys. I know that yesterday was probably pretty hard to follow along with the story because of Claude, but I hope that you enjoyed seeing him and his mom, Clara. I'm kind of set up a new office in my dining room, trying to work on stuff and get everybody replied to at once. I'm going to try and find off where we left off. I'm going to read this, and then hopefully tomorrow's will be a little more exciting. Harry went down to the breakfast the next morning with the rest of the boys in his dormitory, all of whom seemed to think that the firebolt deserved some sort of guard of honor. As Harry entered the great hall, heads turned in the direction of the firebolt, and there was a great deal of excited muttering. Harry saw with enormous satisfaction, so he was like super happy to see, that the Slytherin team were all looking thunderstruck. "Did you see his face?" said Ron gleefully, looking back at Malfoy. "He can't believe it. This is brilliant." Wood, too, was basking in the reflected glory of the firebolt. "Put it here, Harry," he said, laying the broom in the middle of the table and carefully turning it so that its name faced upwards. People from Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff tables were soon coming over to look. Cedric Diggory came over to congratulate Harry on having acquired such a superb replacement for his Nimbus, and Percy's Ravenclaw girlfriend, Penelope Clearwater, asked if she could actually hold the firebolt. Now, Penny, no sabotage," said Percy heartily, as she examined the firebolt closely. "Penelope and I have got a bet on," he told the team. 10 galleons to the outcome of the match." "That's a lot of money. That's like $300. Penelope put the firebolt down again, thanked Harry, and went back to her table. "Harry, make sure you win," said Percy in an urgent whisper. "I don't have 10 galleons." "Yes, I'm coming, Penny," and he bustled off to join her for a piece of toast. "Sure you can manage that broom, Potter," said a cold, drawing voice. Draco Malfoy had arrived for a closer look. Crabbe and Goyle right behind him, as usual. "Yeah, reckon so," said Harry casually. "Got plenty of special features, hasn't it?" said Malfoy, eyes glittering maliciously. "Shame it doesn't come with a parachute, in case you get too near a Dementor." Crabbe and Goyle snickered. "Pity you can't attach an extra arm to yours, Malfoy," said Harry. "Then it could catch the snitch for you." The Gryffindor team laughed loudly. Malfoy's pale eyes narrowed, and he stalked away. They watched him rejoin the rest of Slytherin team, who had put their heads together, no doubt asking Malfoy whether Harry's broom really was a firebolt. At 11:15, the Gryffindor team set off for the changing rooms. The weather couldn't have been more different from their match against Hufflepuff. It was clear and cool today, with a very light breeze. There would be no visibility problems this time, and Harry, though nervous, was starting to feel the excitement only a Quidditch match could bring. They could hear the rest of the school moving into the stadium beyond. Harry took off his black school robes, removed his wand from his pocket, and stuck it inside the t-shirt he was going to wear underneath of his Quidditch robes. He only hoped he wouldn't need it. He wondered suddenly whether Professor Lupin was in the crowd watching. "You know what we've got to do," said Wood, as they prepared to leave the changing rooms. "If we lose this match, we're out of the running. Just fly like you did in practice yesterday, and we'll be okay." They walked out onto the Quidditch pitch to tremendous applause. The Ravenclaw team, dressed in blue, were already standing in the middle of the pitch. Their seeker, Cho Chang, was the only girl on their team. She was shorter than Harry, about a head, and Harry couldn't help noticing, nervous as he was, that she was extremely pretty. Dang, Harry's got a crush on a girl. She smiled at Harry as the teams faced each other behind their captains, and he felt a slight jolt in the region of his stomach that he didn't think had anything to do with nerves. Ah, yeah. "Oliver Wood and Davies, shake hands," Madam Hooch said briskly. Those are the two captains of the team, so they have to walk forward and shake hands. Wood shook hands with the Ravenclaw captain. "Mount your brooms. On my whistle. 3, 2... Harry kicked off into the air, and the firebolt zoomed higher and faster than any other broom. He soared around the stadium and began squinting around for the snitch, listening all the while to the commentary, which was being provided by the Weasley twins' friend, Lee Jordan. Remember, this is the guy who's always like really silly on the microphone. They're off, and the big excitement of this match is the firebolt which Harry Potter is flying for Gryffindor. According to which broomstick, the firebolt's going to be the broom of choice for the national teams this year's World Championship. Jordan, would you mind telling us what's going on in the match? Interrupted Professor McGonagall's voice. Right you are, Professor. Just giving a little bit of background information. The firebolt, incidentally, has a built-in auto brake and... Jordan, the match. Okay, Gryffindor's in possession of the quaffle. Katie Bell of Gryffindor heading for the goal. Harry streaked past Katie in the opposite direction, gazing around for a glint of gold and noticing that Cho Chang was tailing him closely. She was undoubtedly a very good flyer. She kept cutting across him, forcing him to change direction. Show her your acceleration, Harry, Fred yelled as he whooshed past in pursuit of a bludger that was going right for Alicia Spinette. Harry urged the firebolt forward as they rounded the Ravenclaw goalpost, and Cho fell behind. Just as Katie succeeded in scoring the first goal of the match, and the Gryffindor end of the pitch went wild. He saw it. The snitch was close to the ground, flittering near one of the barriers. Harry dived. Cho saw what he was doing and tore after him. Harry was speeding up. Excitement was flooding him. Dives were his specialty. He was 10 feet away. Then a bludger, hit by one of the Ravenclaw beaters, came pelting out of nowhere. Harry veered off course, avoiding it by an inch, and then, in those few crucial seconds, the snitch had vanished. There was a great of disappointment from the Gryffindor supporters, but much applause for their beater from the Ravenclaw end. George Weasley vented his feelings by hitting the second bludger directly at the other team's beater, who was forced to roll right over in midair to avoid it. Gryffindor led by 80 points to 0, and look at that. Gryffindor... I'm sorry, I read that wrong. This is from Lee Jordan, that commentator. Gryffindor leads by 80 points to 0, and look at that firebolt go. Potter's really putting it through the paces now. See it turn? Chang's comet is just no match for it. The firebolt's precision balance is really noticeable in these long... Jordan, are you being paid to advertise firebolts? Get on with the commentary of this match, screamed Professor McGonagall. Ravenclaw were pulling back. They had now scored 3 goals, which put Gryffindor only 50 points ahead. If Cho got the snitch before him, Ravenclaw would win. Harry dropped lower, narrowly avoiding a Ravenclaw chaser, scanning the pitch frantically. A glint of gold, a flutter of tiny wings. The snitch was circling the Gryffindor goalpost. Harry accelerated, eyes fixed on the speck of gold ahead of him, but the next second, Cho had appeared out of thin air, blocking him. Harry, this is no time to be a gentleman, Wood roared as Harry swerved to avoid a collision. Knock her off your broom if you have to. Harry turned and caught sight of Cho. She was grinning. The snitch had vanished again. Harry turned his firebolt upwards and was soon 20 feet above the game. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Cho following him. She's decided to mark him rather than the search for the snitch herself. Right then, if she wanted to tail him, she'd have to take the consequences. He dived again, and Cho, thinking that Harry had seen the snitch, tried to follow. Harry pulled out of the dive very sharply, and she hurtled downwards. He rose fast as a bullet once more, and then saw it. For the third time, the snitch was glittering, way above the pitch at the Ravenclaw end. He accelerated so many feet below, so many feet below did Cho. He was winning, gaining on the snitch with every second. Then, oh! Screamed Cho, pointing. Distracted, Harry looked down. 3 Dementors, 3 tall, black, hooded Dementors were looking up at him. He didn't stop to think. Plunging a hand down the neck of his robes, he whipped out his wand and roared, Expecto Patronum! Something silver-white, something enormous, erupted from the end of his wand. He knew it had shot directly at the Dementors, but he didn't pause to watch. His mind still miraculously clear, he looked ahead. He was nearly there. He stretched out his hand, still grasping his wand, and just managed to close his finger over the small, struggling snitch. Yes, Harry! So not only did he grab the snitch, but he also produced like the best Patronus that he's been able to do so far on the Dementors. Probably because he had such a happy feeling inside, because that's the only way that you can make a Patronus. Because the Dementors feed on like all your happiness. Well, the one thing that will drive them away is that Patronus charm that is made purely of happiness that like overloads them and pushes them away. So Harry was able to do it for the first time, not just a silvery shadow, but like a big burst, and he caught the snitch. Okay, I'm done. Madam Hooch's whistle sounded. Harry turned around in midair and saw 6 scarlet blurs beaming down on him. The next moment, the whole team were hugging him so hard he was nearly pulled off his broom. Down below, he could hear the roars of the Gryffindor in the crowd. "That's my boy," Wood kept telling Alicia. Angelina and kept yelling. Alicia, Angelina, and Katie had all kissed Harry on the cheek, and Fred had him in a grip so tight Harry thought his head would come off. In complete disarray, the team managed to make its way back to the ground. They were doing this all in the air. That's crazy. Harry got off his broom and looked up to see a gaggle of Gryffindor supporters sprinting onto the Quidditch pitch, Ron in the lead. Before he knew it, he had been engulfed in a cheering crowd. "Yes!" Ron yelled, yanking Harry's arm into the air. "Yes, yes, yes!" "Well done, Harry," said Percy, looking delighted. 10 galleons to me. I must find Penelope. Excuse me." "Good on you, Harry," roared Seamus Finnegan. "Running brilliant," boomed Hagrid over the heads of the milling Gryffindors. "That was quite some Patronus," said a voice in Harry's ear. Harry turned around to see Professor Lupin, who both looked shaken and pleased. Well, of course he's proud of Harry for making that Patronus, because he's the one who taught him how to do it. Shoot. "The Dementors didn't affect me at all," Harry said excitedly. "I didn't even feel a thing." "That would be because they, weren't Dementors," said Professor Lupin. "Come and see." This is weird. They're not Dementors? Like, what? He led Harry out of the crowd until they were able to see the edge of the pitch. "You gave Mr. Malfoy quite a fright," said Lupin. Harry stared. Lying in a crumpled heap on the ground were Malfoy, Crabbe, Goyle, and Marcus Flint, the Slytherin team captain, all struggling to remove themselves from long, black, hooded robes. It looked as though Malfoy had been standing on Goyle's shoulders. Standing over them, with an expression of the utmost fury on her face, was Professor McGonagall. "An unworthy trick," she was shouting. "A low and cowardly attempt to sabotage the Gryffindor Seeker. Detention for all of you, and 50 points from Slytherin. I shall be speaking to Professor Dumbledore about this, make no mistake. Ah, here he comes now." So basically, Malfoy and his little gang dressed up as Dementors to scare Harry and distract him so that Ravenclaw could win the Quidditch game because Slytherin had beat Ravenclaw. So, I think. If anything could have set the seal on Gryffindor's victory, this was it. Ron, who had fought his way through to Harry's side, doubled up with laughter as they watched Malfoy fighting to extricate him from the robe, Goyle's head still stuck inside. "Come on, Harry," said George, fighting his way over. "Party, Gryffindor common room, right now." "Right," said Harry, and feeling happier than he had done in ages, he and the rest of the team led the way, still in their scarlet robes, and out of the stadium, back up to the castle. That's where I'm going to end for today. I love that Harry shot a charm at Malfoy. I love that his plans got ruined. I hope that you guys have a good day and stay safe during the thunderstorm that's coming. They kept saying it was going to be really big, but we were just getting a drizzle out here. So stay safe, and I will send you a video tomorrow. No new lambs yet, and Claude's still doing great. Talk to you soon. Bye.